Hello, everybody. Good evening, good morning. My name is Meeta Basu. I am from CSO Global, and I'm your host for this event. Please allow me to extend a warm welcome and a big thank you to all of you for taking your time out on a weekend to listen to us as we take you through a brief yet informative journey on the subject of carbon neutrality and net zero for Indian banks. This event is jointly hosted by CSO Global and Bankers Club. While CSO Global is a sustainability solutions provider, Bankers Club is a platform that connects the corporate ecosystem with the seasoned ex-bankers on providing different kinds advisory on different kinds of financial services. We are indeed encouraged by the audience that we have, a distinguished group of professionals from the banking industry join us to discuss an issue that is of strategic importance to the top management and which shall soon percolate to the middle tier soon. We have an exciting lineup of speakers to guide us through these critical discussions. I urge you all to participate and take away meaningful insights. Let's get started with today's session. May I call upon Mr. Hargovind Sir, our director, to introduce our two special guests, Mr. Rajat Chopra and Mr. Rajiv Kishore Dubey. Hargovind Sir, please.
I have the honor of beginning this auspicious webinar with the introduction of an innovative job creator, Mr. Rajat Chopra, who out of his innovative ideas has suddenly created a ray of hopes for retired bankers. He has started a startup called Bankers Club, wherein all the experienced retired bankers, they are assigned to various corporates who have fund deficits or who need restructuring of their assets. They contact the corporates, and with the experience of 130 of his staff members who are spread throughout the country, they carve out strategies and then provide the financial solution. So this way, it's just 1 month when he really officially started this concept, and he's already provided direct jobs to 130 persons. And in years to come, we can imagine how he's going to revolutionize the retired, bankers arena and empowering them to contribute to nation's economy. Friends, regarding Rajat Chopra ji's creativity, I will just say that Bankers Club is a premier online financial and strategic advising platform. It connects seasoned banking professionals with corporate ecosystem, as Meeta said. It is also very active in supporting startups and helps them navigate their growth story by handholding right from formation of startups to providing them funding, monitoring their end use. He provides all these services. Mr. Chopra has a rich tapestry of experience spanning over more than 25 years. He has adequate acumen in investment banking, stakeholder management, and compliances, which is very, very important. He has crafted groundbreaking solutions in the BFSI segment. He's a visionary in finance. Rajatji is adept in turnarounds and restructuring. And recently, he has restructured a very big problematic account for the banking sector, thereby saving nations costly funds. As a new path of innovator, he's retiring the talent of retired bankers to make them as a bridge between banks and borrower. He has pioneered the concept of Bankers Club. We all welcome you, sir. Rajatji, it's a great honor welcoming you. Kindly unmute yourself and bless us with your thoughts.
Thank you very much, Hargovindji, for such a warm welcome and great words. Hello, everyone. Good evening. Uh, Let me first convey my hearty thanks to CSO Global for organizing this webinar on a subject which is kind of very important subject for all of us. It is our honor that you have chosen us as a partner for this knowledge sharing evening. I'm excited to be here to see such uh, important topic getting addressed, which is shaping the future of the banking industry. And this plays a very critical part going forward from the futuristic point of view. As CEOs and leaders in financial sector, we are well aware about the global push towards sustainability, which is not just a trend, which is now becoming a habit and a necessity. The effects of climate change are real and they are the enablers for the economic growth. I think this is personally, I believe in some form, and I truly believe that these and Indian banks can play a crucial role in this transition. Achieving carbon neutrality and striving for net zero are no longer aspirational goals. I think they are becoming the part of our daily lives in wherever we kind of go, we witness all these changes. They are becoming the integral part of our business strategy for any business strategy today. Our journey towards carbon neutrality offers a unique opportunity not just to mitigate the risk, but to drive the innovation and business models. By aligning our operations, business strategies with ESG principles, we create a resilience and future proof our banks against the challenging of climate risk. I think it is important because it's just a start the way we see it in the Indian economy. But if I think from futuristic point of view, we will witness this as part and parcel of any strategy or any transformation or any, I would say, sustainability of any business going forward. I think today's session will explore how Indian banks can lead this transformation by embedding sustainability into their lending portfolios, adopting energy efficient practices, supporting clients in their transition to low carbon operations. I think this is a very this is something that is going to define the real change when kind of the banking system starts supporting the industries in terms of transition to a low carbon operations, because that is where the capital which is needed at some point in time to do that. Out of 10, if today one are taking those steps or two are taking those steps, I think if we are going to witness this kind of change in the Indian banking industry, I would say 10 on 10 would witness this kind of transition, and that would help economy to grow at large. Let us use this platform to discuss actionable strategies, share best practices, and move collectively towards a sustainable banking ecosystem. I think if we all come together in some form, we can make a real impact. And I truly believe that banking system needs to come forward in more active forms towards supporting this sustainability, to supporting this carbon-free change that the companies can adopt for. Thank you so much for joining us today, and it's my pleasure to be a part of this. And I look forward to an insightful discussion. A quick brief, I would say, Hargovindji, just to add to what you said in lovely words about Bankers Club. Bankers Club is a thought, it's a journey for all the bankers. So we believe you don't retire, you re-retire. Now, people at various positions, like we have the pleasure of having Shri RK Dubeji with us today. He is superannuated from Canara Bank as chairman and managing director. Mr. Hargovindji, I think this is the 40 years, 4 decades of experience. This needs to be utilized by the economy, by the corporates in some form, and creating that kind of organized platform where their advisory not limited to fundraising, but then any kind of financial advice is very important, very critical, to use this experience. I think this is a thought that we started Bankers Club with, so that the small businesses which are at the growth level, or the medium size businesses which can grow to an international level or to a national level, I think they need that right kind of advisory. And that is why this small initiative of bringing everyone together. And I'm personally very grateful to Shri RK Dubeji, who is our Chief Strategic Officer, in terms of whatever we do in terms of policy making, what we need to do, how we need to do that, banker, and well supported by Hargobinji in all the actions that we take today. And look forward to a very great session with you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rajji. One of the qualities of retired bankers which we want to harness through Bankers Club is that we want them not only to push restructuring, investment banking, debt arrangement, we also want them to explore the possibility of guiding the corporates to be ESG compliant. So that's why we thought there is a lot of synergy, because the officials of Bankers Club move around various banks. If they spread this message of carbon neutrality, probably the dual work which they do will add more to the economy and will keep the earth clean. I'm now honored to introduce the tallest banker amongst us, Mr. Rajiv Kishore Dubey. Friends, we are extremely honored that such a stalwart of banking, who has headed central bank, Punjab National Bank at very senior level, and ultimately reached the pinnacle of glory by heading Canara Bank. And today, people say that if Canara Bank has survived, not merged into various other banks, where other banks have vanished overnight, it is because of him, because he revolutionized the ethics there. He inculcated the competitive edge in Canara Bank, and they say that Canara Bank today, when it has absorbed Syndicate Bank, is the bank of future. I am honored to introduce Shri Rajiv Kishore Dubeji as a former ED of Central Bank of India, General Manager of Punjab National Bank, and of course, ex-chairman and managing director of Canara Bank. He is, all of us will be surprised, he has completed LLM after retirement. Just imagine the fire in his belly. And what Rajatji said, the idea behind Bankers Club is being jointly nurtured by Rajatji under the guidance of Shri R.K. Dubey. Sri R.K. Dubey holds directorships in many corporates and is an advisor to microfinancing fintech companies. Shri Dubey is a member of the board of governors of Shri Sharda Institute of Indian Management and also Lal Bahadur Shastri Institute of Management, Delhi. Sir, we welcome you and we request you to kindly bless us on this auspicious occasion.
Thank you, Shri Hargovindji. I am honored that you have remembered me and the CSO Global has invited me. Before I begin, I would like to say a word about Shri Raminder Pal Singh Bagri from CSO Global, who is incidentally my former colleague from Canara Bank. Many may not be knowing, you may not be even knowing. He was my AGM in charge in India in 2013-14 when I picked him and took him to South Africa to open a branch at Johannesburg. He was CEO there. Later, he took voluntary retirement and moved to other industries, and then finally landed up with CSO Global. Thank you, Rabinder Pal Singh Bagri. My best wishes to you for your good future. Well, friends, all the distinguished guests, my dear Sri Rajat and other dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen, good evening to you all. And I thank for joining us at this important webinar. It is both a pleasure and a responsibility for us as key players in the banking sector to explore our role in shaping a sustainable future. As we gather today, we are at the crossroads of a global shift towards a low carbon economy. The concept of carbon neutrality and achieving net zero is not just a regulatory obligation, but a necessary path for us to contribute to global climate goals. Indian Bank, given their influence and reach, have a unique role to play by financing sustainable projects and embedding ESG principles in lending practices. We can definitely drive the transition towards a greener economy. This also includes the earlier CSR role that companies and banks were doing. IBA, the advisory body of the Indian banks, all Indian banks, public sector, private sector, and scheduled bank, has already adopted UN's SDG, which is under implementation among all the public sector banks. I am incidentally on board of ESG Foundation of India also. We recently had a Prithvi Award ceremony in Delhi for one-day event. The road to net zero is both challenging and full of opportunity. For banks, it is not just about compliance or risk management, NPA control, or it is about creating long-term value for stakeholders. Our lending portfolios must increasingly focus on green projects, and that is what we are now inculcating on retired bankers, which are re-attired in the as the bankers of Banker Club also, as supported by statements of Sri Rajat. And our operations need to become more energy efficient. But more than that, we have to work closely with clients across industries, helping them decarbonize and adopt sustainable business models. We have been accepting green deposits, issuing green bonds, doing full-fledged green financing also, discouraging or having giving no finance to companies emitting carbon. Through today's discussion, I hope we can gain deeper insights into the practical steps Indian banks can take to make this vision a reality. Let us use this platform to share knowledge, collaborate, and lead the way towards a sustainable future for India and the world. I am already committed and I offer my services to help, to advise wherever required to CSO Global also in the mission to achieve it globally in the banking industry, the financing world. Thank you very much, and I look forward to today's exchange of ideas.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much, sir.
All the best.
Thank you for your precious time and gracious presence. Over to Meeta Basu.
Yeah. Thank you, gentlemen. We can now commence the webinar. May I call upon David Cole, sir, to please come in and speak for a minute or so to introduce CSO Global.
Yes. Yes.
David, sir.
So thankful to be here. Thankful for each one of you joining us today for this webinar to share our passion regarding climate and sustainability best practices. Who is CSO Global? We are fellow believers and practitioners bringing best practices in the areas of climate sustainability. I am a fellow banker, so I have that in common with many of you on the webinar today. A technologist and a data practitioner located in the southern United States, joined with the members of our board who bring various degrees of expertise. Dr. Mala Singh there, and we should hear some comments maybe recorded from her a little bit later. But bottom line is, we want to partner with you, whoever you are. If you're a banker, you might need some help. We want to be able to help you. If you are a business or a corporate, most likely you might need some help in this space. And it's impossible for any one person to know how to do all of the best practices in climate. So what CSO Global has done is brought people together, expertise across all the value chain in this space. And that's what we want to bring to you, is a comprehensive solution on bringing the best practices to whatever business problem or challenges we might have, so that we jointly can make a difference in the world. Thank you, and look forward to hearing more about what's coming next. Back to you, Meeta.
Thank you so much, sir. May I now call upon Hargovind, sir, once again, to introduce the concepts of carbon neutrality, net zero, and all the intervening topics around it with specific reference to Indian banks. Over to you now, sir.
Thank you, Meeta. In respect and honor of all those who are gracing the occasion, I say that Ana Tera Mubarak, तशरीफ लाने वाले, खुशियां मना रहे हैं तुम सबको बुलाने वाले. See, Mother Earth needs prayers, needs the involvement of each and every citizen, that 8 billion people who are living here. It needs a care of them because it cares for them. So friends, our topic today is to bring the people who have the key of finance in their hands to be aware of their responsibility of bringing in carbon neutrality and trying their best to make this world net zero. Now, there are two options before bankers. They can either stop lending, but that will be self-defeating because banks have also to subsist. They provide a lot of employment. They add to the nation's GDP, productivity. They enable international trade. So as such, banks cannot be immediately net zero. So the message to them is to become carbon neutral. Now, what is carbon neutral? You all know that neutralizing carbon dioxide emission from the operations and removing them from the atmosphere is actually neutralization of carbon. But we can achieve it by investing in carbon offset projects. Suppose you get a good proposal from Indian Oil Corporation for say 500 crores, which is one of the safest lending, then you will be naturally tempted to lend to Indian Oil Corporation. But then you all know that they are the biggest creators of carbon. They are probably in a position where they cannot help themselves because their product is such. So if you finance Indian Oil Corporation, then your effort should be that you should also try to finance a solar big unit of similar size, or a unit making electricity from air, windmills, or from bagasse, so that you become carbon neutral. Because you cannot stop funding Indian corporation, which is generating fossil fuels and various carbons, and you have to finance uh, such units which are polluting, because you are part of the MSME development in India, which is undergoing a lot of transformation. So as such, you must set off by financing alternate resources of energy which reduce the carbon content. If your branch is financing 5 diesel cars every day, please ensure that 2 or 3 EVs, electric cars, are also financed there. Thereby, you'll be offsetting and you'll be creating what is called as carbon neutrality. Now, this can also be achieved by buying carbon credits. You know what is carbon credit? Carbon credit is, the saving of various carbon generated by the system through saving in water, through saving in energy, through saving in various other inputs. If you generate such savings through your processes, then you generate what is called as carbon credits, which are traded internationally. Now, you have seen the Tesla car. Tesla car balance sheet of this year shows that they have got $1.79 billion as carbon credit benefits in their balance sheet. Their operational profits are $750 million, but receipt from carbon credits is $1.79 billion, because they have innovated a car which is saving so much of carbon from the atmosphere. So now what oil companies in America are doing is that they are buying the carbon credits from Tesla and paying him money. So this way also carbon neutrality can be created. Then coming to net zero. Net zero is a very difficult task for any bank to exercise. As such, we have kept it on second. But Bankers Club is a bridge between banks and corporates. Now, corporates can be guided to become net zero by changing their production processes, attending to scope 1, 2, and 3. You all know what is scope 1, 2, and 3. See, scope 1 is the process which you adopt, which generates carbon directly, like your factory, like your car, your travel in aeroplane. They all generate scope 1 energies which harm the atmosphere. That is a very small part of the carbon which is generated. Then there are scope 2, like you are using an electricity which is generated by a thermal power plant, and that thermal power plant is burning coal and creating a lot of carbon. So you are also indirectly responsible for consuming such energy and soiling the atmosphere. But what we are concerned is about the scope 3. That is the funds we finance to various companies who generate carbon and soil the entire atmosphere and threaten the existence of life on this earth. We must see that these finance emissions, they are controlled. Try to encourage a budget in your branches wherein you discourage funding of diesel generators, or diesel cars, or such factories which are not worried about harvesting their waste, or do not process the water, the contaminated water which they generate in the process. So, friends, the climate risk which is confronting today is like the terrorist risk. It suddenly happens. We all saw how corona came and removed a large number of industries from the world itself. So what we expect is that, kindly come back to back screen, Mita. What we expect is the previous screen. What we expect is that please indoctrinate the climate risk into the DNA of bankers. They must know that the physical risk which can confront the loan they have provided or they have nurtured very badly, and suddenly their entire asset can vanish. And in the process, there is a cost. They may lose the asset. And then there is another, risk which is confronting the corporate assets is the transition risk. If you have to inculcate discipline of observing carbon neutrality or carbon zero status, then you have to invest in technology, you have to formulate policies, you have to give away certain bad debts which were otherwise giving you good income. So that those types of risks are transition risks. So bankers must inculcate in their DNA that they have to mitigate climate risk. Only then they will be able to really manage the credit risk, the market risk, the liquidity risk, and the operational risks. Unless you manage the transition and physical climate risks, you will not be able to protect your assets for long term. They'll be vulnerable to any change in atmosphere, whether it's a flood, whether it's an earthquake, whether it is a pandemic. All those things will impact the asset value. That is why we are here to advise bankers that when they do the credit assessment, in their credit rationale, the rating rationale, they must give a big weightage to the carbon emission weaknesses of the asset. Next, please. See, the problem is actually taking attention of all our controllers, Government of India, SEBI, and various authorities. In fact, as per the guidelines of SEBI, 1,000 top corporates in India per market capitalization have to essentially, report every month to SEBI about the steps they have taken to neutralize carbon. And if you see how the awareness is now, yarning and developing across the financial arena in India, right from 2019, RBI published, climate-related financial risk guidelines, and in 21, it set up a task force on sustainable finance through Economic Affairs Department. Then SEBI issued BRSR requirements. As I submitted, 1,000 top corporates in India, they have to, every month submit a report, which is called as Business Responsibility and Sustainability Report. And if you do not furnish this report, there are going to be restrictions on your accessing the market funds. So which will again affect your development. Now, RBI has, created a network for greening of financial system. Most of the banks are now issuing green bonds, accepting green deposits, and all those funds are completely monitored by Reserve Bank of India through BRSR, that those funds are invested in projects which are green projects, which are not a threat to environment. In 2023, RBI published framework for acceptance of green deposits, and most of the banks have now started accepting these deposits. And now in this year, RBI has released draft disclosure framework on climate-related financial risks. The framework mandates disclosures on 4 key areas. That is the governance. Governance means the ESG is not only for soiling the atmosphere, it is also for taking care of the society. So there are social responsibility. Should not be any child labor or any exploited working hour for the labor. And then there is management of risks, not only the ordinary risk of credit, market, liquidity, and all that, the risk which comes through the climate. That is also to be done. And then this draft disclosure is asking for various strategies which bank has adopted to mitigate such problems, and it has set up the metrics and targets within which each bank has to operate. Friends, Indian banks have responded very, very positively, and they have gradually started to take measures on the path to carbon neutrality and net zero. If you see some of the even leading foreign banks like DBS Bank has already partnered with a carbon finance company to measure carbon emissions from particular portfolio using a special tool called as carbon neutral event calculator. Now, this is an epoch-making step taken by a bank in India, which in long term will definitely reduce the carbon emissions in the financed products which they have. Similarly, bank like SBI has recently floated a huge tender wherein it has asked experts to come to their various branches and measure the carbon footprint of the loan portfolio. Suppose a fertilizer plant has been financed by SBI, then SBI wants these experts to measure the carbon footprints of this asset and advise how they can neutralize or they can offset this through other type of lending. Union Bank of India has also initiated steps, and of course, banks like Axis Bank and ICICI banks have already mapped their emissions. And if you see the credit rationales of these banks, wherein they give a rating to the corporate who has approached them for financing, there they give positive and negative marks depending on the status of carbon neutrality of that particular corporate. Yes Bank has taken a big lead. It has already pledged to attain a net zero status by 2030. It is targeting GHG emissions from its scope 1 and scope 2. Friends, this greenhouse gas emissions scope 1 and 2 is actually a very small step, but then we are so happy to see that this message is reaching them, and they're starting with scope 1 and 2 because they are hardly 5% of the spoilers of the atmosphere. In your office, you have a data center, you are using lifts, or you have a cafe, you have a cooking station. All these things also generate a lot of carbon. So these carbons, or your guys, your staff comes in a diesel car or petrol car. So all these scope 1 and 2, a lot of attention is going. Yes Bank is taking lead in managing this, but ultimately they have to reach to scope 3, which is the financed emissions. Friends, HDFC Bank has also announced its plan to become carbon neutral by 2031 and 32. And all of us know that Government of India has already committed that India will become a net zero on the following, the above 4 principles which we just discussed by 2070. Friends, banks are the center of enabling sustainable transformation as our great India moves towards a net zero future, led by climate risk resilience and environmental responsibility of the corporate sector. Banks alone can save this earth. President Barack Obama, when he was president, said, we are the first generation to feel the real impact of climate change and the last generation that can do something about it. You see how harsh are the rains, how harsh was the summer, and now winter will be equally harsh. So we are the first generation feeling this, and we are the last generation who can do something about it. Otherwise, the conditions will go out of hand. Friends, environment is no one's property to destroy. It's everyone's responsibility to protect. Before I hand over to Meeta, I will only say that let everyone sweep in front of his own door, and the whole world will become clean. That is the message today from CSO Global and Bankers Club. Meeta, please carry on.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. Our next speaker will introduce the 4-pillar approach to ESG. This will talk about what is it that can be done, what is the roadmap, to attain carbon neutrality and net zero. Ma'am, can you please come and address? And she will also talk about the first pillar, which is about greening the banking infrastructure.
Thank you, Meeta. So, beginning with our four-pillar approach at CSO Global, we have developed a very comprehensive four-pillar approach that will help banks integrate ESG into their operations, meet regulatory requirements, and position themselves as leaders in sustainable finance. Our approach is designed to address the challenges we have discussed previously and and also help the banks capitalize on the opportunities presented by the transition to a low carbon economy. So, as you can see, our four pillars are sustainable infrastructure optimization, uh, which starts from a green building certification. The second pillar is the decarbonization of loan portfolio. This addresses the crucial challenge of managing and reducing your financed emission, that is the scope 3 emissions. And the third one is the data-driven solutions and technological enablement. So this pillar will help the bank to manage their data and automate the challenges that they will face while managing the ESG data that's already present in the bank or that needs to be managed properly. So, and the last one is the sustainable reporting, that is the need of the hour now in India also. So this will ensure that a bank meets the growing demand for reporting, and we also have a tool that can be used to create the ESG report that is the BRSR report that is mandated by the SEBI. So when it comes to the fourth pillar of CSO Global regarding the sustainable infrastructure, Meeta, can you change the slide? Yeah. I mean the first one, that is the sustainable infrastructure. So our approach towards our approach towards the ESG for banks, it is very important. When the bank wants to achieve their goals, they have to ensure that their infrastructure is reduce is producing is reducing its carbon emissions. That is the scope 1 and scope 2 emission. The facilities that they are operating, the offices that from where they are doing their operations, they might be big buildings, that is 500 square feet or maybe 10,000 square feet. It becomes very important for the banks to follow some green guidelines or standards and try to achieve those set benchmark to achieve better energy efficiency, water efficiency, and also manage the waste inside those facilities. So applying these guidelines to achieve the goals, CSO Global can help the banks by supporting these goals by providing them with green certifications. So these green certifications can take care of the scope 1 and scope 2 emissions very well. And also the green building certifications not only set the greening benchmark, minimum benchmarks, but also provide a strategy how to achieve a net zero goal by becoming a net zero facility. So, by becoming a zero carbon facility and following the guidelines provided in the industry, CSO Global can help the bank attain the net zero foot, 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 the trajectory towards the net zero. So, that's it from my side. Maybe we can move on to the next pillar.
Thank you so much, ma'am. May I now call upon Raminder sir? Please, can you talk about the most critical aspect, which is decarbonizing the loan portfolio of banks?
Okay. Good evening, everybody, and people who have joined from outside of India. Good afternoon and good morning. In fact, the topic given to me is very difficult in terms of if we talk about this is banks have been the indirect contributor to the emissions. And when we talk about this decarbonizing the loan portfolio, it's a lot of challenges which are on the way the banks are going to encounter. Okay, coming to this, the genesis of it. See, if we take the Paris Accord, according to which the world over the pledge is taken that will bring down the emission below 2% above the pre-industrialization level, and and the wishful thinking is 1.4. If we need to do that, so all the banks needs to go for decarbonizing their portfolio. And it's so far, as of when we talk, as of last year, see about 122 banks, they have joined the Net Zero Banking Alliance, which represent 40% of the global portfolio of banking assets. Um, okay, so when we talk about this, I was talking about the difficulties in the whole process. The starting point is the baseline assessment, which is the starting point. So we need to start from see the baseline. So what we do is our current emissions we need to calculate. See, as of today, where do I stand? Which industries do I finance? And this sectors, various sectors. And from there, I have to transition to a level where I have my scenario, where I need to this transition myself. So, which is a this okay. Currently, see when we talk about this, this sector levels, which is like this. We talk about the higher emitting sectors. We have got fossil fuels, this renewable. This uh, coal sector, cement, steel. These are high carbon emitting sectors. So and the banks need to transition to this to the industries where the carbon, see, they have to go for a total revamp of their portfolio. See, if see two, so which is a see which will require a lot of efforts at the top management level. At the see that when it percolate down to mid management in the policy framework, and it's not so easy because it's not just see that decarbonizing your portfolio. You have to look at your profitability also. You have to look at your the risk factors also. So this is the whole gamut of things are to be taken into account. So this is something which the banks have this taken upon themselves. And see, and the biggest challenge we face is the data challenge. Of course, the banks, if we see, being an ex-banker, I know if see, I have to generate some report, submit to the regulators, it will be scattered across various places. So they're long, lengthy sheets where I need to reconcile. And if we talk about climate-related data, it's all the more difficult for me to generate. And see, these are the challenges which the banks are going to face. And but this is something which the banks need to achieve, and with the see that right initiative at the top management level, and see. Hello. Okay. So uh,
Please mute yourself. Yeah. Raminderji, go ahead.
So going from the core scenario to see different scenario analysis they need to do, and this in the process, see they can achieve by capabilities at various levels. Then harnessing technologies when especially it comes to see data, and about that they also there needs to be a capacity building and understanding of new technologies in the sector like see renewable energy or green steel, green cement, what we are talking to about. So this is a knowledge needs to populate down, and which is the need of the hour. They need to do it. And if we talk about and why is required, if we see that if our industry doesn't become green, so will not be competitive. For an example, from 2026 CBAM, which is a carbon border adjustment mechanism, which is a tax being levied by European Union on the imports emanating from the rest of the world. And if only if the products are see manufactured by the green technologies, see the countries like India, China can be competitive. So this is the pathway. So see the client engagement is also important. So with this, I like to conclude this in a nutshell. This is what this we need to go from this level to a level where see we are meeting those the standards set by the bank.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. May I now call upon David Cole, sir, He will take us through the two pillars of our four-pillar approach, that is the ESG integration and sustainability reporting. David, sir, over to you.
Absolutely. So because of my experience in data and technology, I tend to see every problem as a data problem. And in order to measure carbon impact, we have to figure out a way to capture data. So this pillar to me is a critical pillar to overall success of measurement and monetization of climate and carbon footprint. You got to be able to measure it. You have to have confidence in it. You have to be able to report it. As bankers, you recognize the importance also of knowing the source of your data, the quality of your data. So this pillar, we believe, first starts with a good process of collecting, a standardization of collecting information, and then categorization of the types of carbon footprint, and then ultimately leading to reporting that might go into a regulatory reporting. It could go into financial reporting, but ultimately you cannot manage it if you cannot measure it, and you cannot improve upon it if you can't size it, and data and reporting is the way to do it. So one of the specializations that CSO Global brings is a discipline around how to capture and how to report. More importantly, as you do the green building certifications, you begin a process of information gathering and measuring. You've got to be able to bring it into some kind of centralized report or reporting area. And we believe that we have solutions that can assist our partners in gathering data and doing the calculations and delivering the reporting. On top of all this, because again, we bring a data mentality, we believe we might be able to leverage additional technologies, artificial intelligence, natural language processing, et cetera, to get new insights, new intelligence, and leverage that data to help even further our program on reducing climate emissions. How do you know you've got a problem if you don't have some kind of proactive monitoring? And that's the beauty of a data-driven solution data system. So this pillar, I just will conclude, is that you can't measure it. If you can't measure it, you can't manage it. And that's really what this pillar is all about. You can go on to the next slide. And then reporting, I pretty much cover that in both, but there's going to be a myriad of challenges on the reporting front, depending on who your audience is, who the stakeholders might be, who's interested. First, just general good management. We've already talked about that. But whether you're a regulator or a board member or perhaps an environmental agency, each one of those is going to have their own special reporting needs, all data driven, of course, but the ability to report out and measure also leads us to the potential to monetize carbon credits and leverage that for really making money off of doing good carbon business. But the reportability on top of that is the key. And then ultimately, when you start measuring that out and show that you're a good bank, good corporate citizen, we're showing that we are really doing what we're doing, say we're doing. You can measure it, you can trust it, and you can really show that we are making a difference and measure it over time. That's the last point, is over time you can see continual improvement. Anyway, I think everybody understands the concept here, but CSO Global has the techniques, the best practices and approach that we would like to partner with others on to be able to deliver these solutions. And at that, I'll conclude. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. So that concludes our present explanation of our four pillars. To complement it, we have two more service offerings which we would like to present, starting with our green finance option. Raminder sir would like to, if you can briefly explain the audience about this.
Okay. Okay. Compared to the previous topic which was given to me, this is relatively easier. So green finance, see, if we see 2023, India witnessed the hottest February since 1901. And India is amongst the countries most affected by the impact of extreme weather conditions. So this is, see, when we talk about the green finance, is coming out of the commitment, the government's commitment to the environment. In 2008, the government of India launched its National Action Plan on Climate Change with 8 national missions that aim to reduce the economy's emission intensity, improve energy efficiency, etc. If we talk about the climate policy is coupled with other policy goals such as energy access and water security. India's 2030 climate targets submitted under the Paris Agreement include reducing its economy's emission intensity by 45% compared to 2005 and increasing the share of non-fossil fuel-based energy resources to halve the installed capacity. To finance these and other commitments, the country needs around $170 billion per year in investment. But the country so far has achieved only, if we say that through these sectors, about 44 billion in the past. Okay. And few of the initiatives like taken by Government of India is Reserve Bank of India released a framework in April 2023 to encourage banks and non-banking finance institutions to offer green deposits. In July 2022, the bank RBI reported that 85% of India's 31st scheduled commercial banks agreed to change their lending and investing practices to support green finance. And see, if we talk about G20, in the G20, we have, we had the slogan, One Earth, One Family, One Future. So green finance includes investment in renewable energy, green bonds, green technology, energy efficient infrastructure. However, as industry matures, these challenges, the challenges green finance include project risk, policy uncertainty, need for standardized green finance. Okay, so this is in a nutshell what is done so far in India. If I talk about this, see, on January 25, 2023, India issued the first tranche of its first sovereign green bond worth 80 billion rupees, which is equivalent to $980 million. And this green bond proceeds allocated to the renewable energies will support rollout of well-proven renewable energy technologies as well as research and development of new technologies. Okay, and if we talk about in the private sector, if we say that Reva Ultra Mega solar project, it is financed with the initiative of this World Bank and IFC. And even Ghaziabad Nagar Nigam has issued green bonds to the tune of $20 million in 2021 and Indore Municipal Corporation for $87 million in 2023. And that was about, in the government India initiative, what is taking and how, the CSO Global is positioned. Okay, the thing is, in the bank's level, so the CSO Global is positioned in terms of, assessing the projects which are financed by the banks. Because there needs to be an agency who could certify that money is going for the intended purpose. So we are rightfully placed in those terms, and we can really play a role in supporting the banks and financial institutions in their journey towards green finance. And that's I'd like to conclude my this session with that. So is over to you, Meeta, madam.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Our final offering that we have is Basel risk integration with climate risk. Hargovind, sir, can you please present here?
Certainly. Meeta, the climate change is no longer a myth. It's a reality. It's there. It's confronting us right now. And all of us have to contribute their might to see that the place, the earth, the mother earth, which is given to us in trust to be passed on to our children and next generations in a safe way. For that, everybody is working, no doubt about it. At CSO Global, we have innovated a large number of products. The BRSR report, monthly report is one of the products. Then green building certification is another. Life cycle assessment we do for all corporates. And those who want to sell carbon credits, we do analysis, we measure the carbon credits, and whatever is available beyond the statutory limits, we try to sell. These are the products which are niche products, but the most innovative product is the conjunction of the Basel norms with sustainability requirements. You know all Basel. Basel is a city in Switzerland where the regulators of various countries like RBI, Bundesbank, they meet and then they take overview of the entire scenario confronting various risks to the bank's portfolios and then advise mitigations. In Basel I, you had seen they wanted capital adequacy norms. They said that the banks are confronted with market risk, credit risk, liquidity risk, interest rate risk. So they said you provide this much of capital to mitigate these risks. Then came Basel II, and everybody found that there were so many frauds happening across the banks, forged signatures, false withdrawal from ATMs, and so many things, impersonation of signatures and things like that. So they said operational risk is another risk which is confronting the banks. Now, the mother risk is the climate risk, which I submitted in my opening remarks, has made, banks vanish overnight. Assets, suddenly go in the thin air. At CSO Global, we have innovated a software wherein we all the Basel guidelines, they are alienated with the provision which is required to mitigate the climate risk. So we through this tool, we pull out the data of the various assets and their carbon emissions, and then we advise through this tool that in accordance with Basel risk, what is the provision of capital which is required by banks, and the data is available for the management to implement. So that is a very innovative topic which we have done by culling data and then matching the data with the levels required by the Basel guidelines to maintain the capital. So this is one innovative product which I will request the officials of Bankers Club also to market. Friends, with this, I hand over to Meeta.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. That was a wonderful presentation. Thank you all to all the speakers. We will now have a few concluding thoughts from our director, Mr. Siddharth, and then we will open the room for question and answers. Siddharth, over to you.
Very good. Okay. So again, thank you so much for that. So namaste, everybody, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for joining us this evening. Now, we're in the last hour, we have seen how CSO Global plans to assist bankers and the industry at large in reducing their exposure to climate risk. We do have a lot of experts with us who have worked years before these things have become fad and fashion now, because before these things have become a mandatory thing, before these things have become come in the radar of regulatory uh, uh, main radar, regulatory radar now. So a lot of these things, it's not that has come when we say that we have best practices in understanding the in life cycle assessment or in understanding in measuring some of these emissions. It's not some of these things that have come overnight because ESG has become fashion in the last 2 years. People in our industry, in our company, people within the industry have been working decades on this, on refining this, on improving this, and in ensuring that the numbers that we are getting are as accurate as is possible. The kind of solutions that we are able to implement, the kind of processes that we are able to bring to fore have been honed and sharpened over years. So it's not something, it is something that the bankers, your industry is a very conservative industry. So when we say something that we have improved something or we are showing an innovative thing, it's actually not an innovative thing. These things have become innovation over 20 years. These things have become have sharpened their ability to address the challenges that the industry is facing in over years. So CSO Global, while the company is new, while the offerings are new, the solutions are old, the processes are standardized over many iterations across the world, and it is globally accepted standard. So in a sense that bankers wouldn't have to be conservative or to say, okay, let's wait and watch and see how these things improve. No, that that time is gone. The time is now to act, and we hope that with CSO Global and with the partnerships with others, we are able to act and implement right away. So I'll start this session this time for a question and answer session with any of the speakers that you would want to have. Please, if you could kindly.
Siddharth, we
Yes,
have
sir.
distinguished guest here, Dr. Fareed Ahmed, Executive Director, retired of Punjab and Sindh Bank. He is a great expert on ESG. Before we start the question answer, may I request Dr. Fareed to kindly share his thoughts?
Yes, please. Yeah.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you very much, Sajjavji. I heard speakers, and they have brought the importance of the climate change. No doubt, the banking sector is the key force behind the global economy and also the Indian economy, and finds itself at the forefront of these transformative shifts. Definitely, to withstand the impact of global warming, banks need to take a leadership role, incorporating the climate change related considerations into their risk management framework. No doubt about it. In fact, as you said, and other speakers have told, the banking sector faces exposure to the climate change through both macroeconomic and microeconomic channels, stemming from the physical and the transition risk drivers. So the influence of the climate change or climate risk drivers on banking institutions, as you rightly said, not only the credit risk, it can be through the market risk, liquidity risk, operational risk, and also reputational risk. So banks have to take immediate steps to take care of the climate risk in their portfolios. First of all, they should focus on their strategies and also the products. They should decide what exactly their business strategies in order to overcome the climate risk, and also decides the development of the products and programs accordingly. Then prospecting and origination of their credit applications are the customers. I can also say that underwriting and approval stage also, the climate risk has to become a part of it, to become a credit rating and also the pricing of the loans and all. And also whenever they are going for the financing, they have to collateral management, hedging also should be taken into consideration. And these are the certain steps they can start so that they can mitigate the credit risk. As you rightly said, it cannot be zero. It cannot be made zero overnight or over a period of time also, because banks are the commercial organizations. They have to see their bottom line also, but they have to more focus on the mitigative steps for the climate risk. So these are my thoughts I want to share here. Thank you very much for giving this opportunity.
Thank you, Dr. Fareed. Dr. Rajiv Kishore Dubeji, would you like to have final word before we jump into question answer session?
I think I have already added, and a lot of inputs have already been given by all of you, the various speakers. I only wish all the very best. May God help everyone, all stakeholders, to come forward, fully, with full devotion, to make this dream a success, because it is the need of the hour. Thank you very much. All the very best to you.
Over to Siddharth.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Dr. Ahmed, and thank you, Arka sir. Thank you for that blessings as well as for the kind wishes there. So yes, attendees, if you could have any questions, would you have any questions? So our speakers, our directors would be happy to answer them.
Yeah, this is Sanjeev. Hi, everyone.
So
good
good
evening
evening. Yes.
and good morning.
Yes.
My question is this is the very hot topic. I attended the ESG 30 webinar held in Delhi last few days back. So the main topic was the same. Now we come to the now banker side. Can we have some guidelines on that how we can enable our financing into sustainable and energy mode so that we can have guidelines to get some finance, green housing and all the things. So we can, the purpose is to we can guide our, we also try to implement our this guidelines and taking initiative to for the green housing finance. So which is basically given a education to our customers also. So which is a great potential is lying to get this emulsion and to reduce this emission. So definitely we support on this. So can you guide on this? The question is that can you guide on this how we can get this green financing and what is the weight and how we can do it that?
Sanjeev, you have touched the core of the subject. See, it is the household which is the generation of the carbon, whether it is the kitchen disposables, whether it our old books, newspaper which we read every day, or the old computers which or printers in our house we throw around, they all generate. So when you are practicing these things to a household, say through a product called housing loan, and you insist that at least their kitchen or their toilet should be lit by solar energy, and they should build houses which should be fed by one air conditioner which whose air should flow around throughout the house rather than six air conditioners every flat which is soiling the atmosphere. Then such indoctrination of knowledge at the time of giving housing loan will make this world a cleaner world. So through retail lending, whether it is car or housing, we can inculcate such a certain discipline while lending that we will finance only green housing. And now, fortunately for us, RBI has said that whatever penny you mobilize through green funds or green bonds, you must render to only green products. So this greenhousing concept, which is catching like fire in India, everybody needs a shade over his head or her head. This can be really implemented. Thank you for this suggestion.
Raminder, sir, would you
Uh,
like to say
I have
something?
Yes, I like to say, sir, when we talk about the green financing, is primarily when we extend the loans to green projects. Okay, when we talk about, you talk about, the buildings or the housing. Sir, that's we look at the quality of the air, the water consumption, the electricity consumption, and the other, whatever goes, the waste disposal, that's one factor in building. And sir, we also need to look into that the cement and the steel, which has gone into this the construction, how green it is. So when we talk about this greening, so sir, the biggest beneficiary of this, India is uniquely placed in terms of this. Is Of course, I did talk about that the transition will not be easy, but sir, we are uniquely placed because we are, most of our industry, we see that, especially in the steel sector, in the aluminium, we are the secondary producers. So when we talk about, we talk about three R's: reduce, reuse, and this recycle. So that is the one factor where we can be, if we really make our, we make other process improvements, where we bring down the fuel consumption, the electricity consumption, water consumption through these by guiding our industry. So not just they become more efficient, they becomes more competitive in to sell their products in Europe and other countries. So it's not just a challenge, it also brings an opportunity to our industry.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Are there any other
I
questions?
would like to put a last question from my side. We are a
Yes.
startup and we are a part of over 200, 300 bankers with us, which actually are engaged with over 700, 800 corporates, and it is increasing.
Yes.
Now, I'm also a part of CBI London, which is Carbon Bond Initiative. Uh, which is kind of recurring investments towards making the industry carbon free in some form. So here's a clear thought process that how the process works when we talk about leveraging this platform in terms of into various companies which shows interest towards going green, and how the green funding and would definitely come in picture when it comes to. So I'm saying, but how all stakeholders comes together and make the first step towards enabling a company to go green is where I'm coming at. Because I think personally I have large visibility to the process through Hargovindji, but I would want to reiterate that when we have a large army of 300, 400 bankers, 1000 companies, I think it's a large platform where we can leverage this
Understood.
as a more thick partners for each other, providing automated routes towards engaging with the companies. And I think that's where I would want to put this forward to the group, that how this can be more thicker partnership where we can have more than 1500 companies to coming together, and we can actually make them educate aware make them understand about the benefits, the cost benefits associated with it, and largely the funding. That's if that's what
Fantastic question, sir. Actually, you have entered into the practical mode of the deliberations which we had. See, the pollution can be controlled in two ways: by doing structural changes or by bringing in behavioral changes. When our ambassadors, that is the retired bankers, visit various banks to mobilize business or various industries to let them avail the services of banks, they can carry a message that they will do a preliminary life cycle assessment of their business processes, and the experts of CSO Global can tell how to reduce the process or how to shorten so that the energy consumption is less. Right now, we are working on two contracts, sir. The Star House of Bank of India, three buildings, we are converting them to green building. We have already done for SBI Corporate Office, Mumbai, where electricity bill every month came down from 84 lakhs to 40 lakhs. Now they had to spend about 10.5 crore in bringing structural changes, removing the luggage, big luggage lifts, which are used very rarely because only once you shift your office, and they were, big drain on energy. Similarly, the water consumption, which Raminder Singh mentioned, was also reduced, and the lighting system was also changed. So such messages can be, verbally exchanged while marketing your products with these companies, and our company will intervene there and do the life cycle assessment and suggest changes which will result in saving of energy for them, saving of money for them, and ultimately saving the carbon emissions from the world.
great, sir. Great, Hargovindji. I think you put it very straight in terms of your contractual obligations towards Bank of India and SBI that you are already, doing. I think this could be a very, very good start for us to look at a very more thicker partnership, because there are a lot of government institutions, non-government institutions, corporates that come together. Uh, uh, I'm saying that approaching them with a focused approach has its cost associated to it. I think that can be worked out so that we put a system in place and we can start uh, getting our share in term mind share towards these corporates so that they start thinking about it. And that's the way I think could be a good start and meaningful partnership that we can look at in future. I leave it to you, Hargovindji. I know you know both the sides very well, and you
Yeah,
know how the
regarding bank, I mentioned. Regarding corporate, sir, I went to a corporate which is supplying electroless washing machines to hotels. Now he has
yeah.
got 52 five-star hotels in India under him, and the laundries he has put are totally outsourced to him. So now by using a very efficient machine, he has saved water bill, he has saved electricity bill, he has saved detergent bill, and the quality of towel which are reaching the rooms are worthy of using pure white, pristine white. So now he's asking us to sell his carbon credits which he has generated by saving so much water, energy, detergents, and he wants us to monetize them. We are working for it. So your officials, they can go to banks, suggest green building, they can go to corporate, suggest such measures. So it will be a win-win wherever they step in.
As I said that
Sir, another company we are advising on their eco-labeling of products. This is green products. Like like we do a life cycle assessment. There's a see if I have to eco-label a product, so that's about I have to look at more than 100 KPIs. It has got scorecards. So our team will go, especially sir. Incidentally, Mala madam is not there. She is the key figure. She's a sustainability expert. She's an IIT Roorkee with 2 decades of experience. She is the chairwoman of India Green Building Council in Mumbai. So those credentials. So she is the key person. So go there, do the assessment of the processes, guide them, and take them through the path where the products becomes see green. And this it's a journey. It's a 9 to 12 months of project where we do this. And sir, if we talk about the building where Hargovind sir has told, if we look at sir, they incurred some 10 crores approximately, and the monthly saving was about 45 lakhs. If I say the payback is 20 months, and after that they're recurring saving. So if we really, sir, at times the client also doesn't know what is the need. So if we go educate them, so it will be a very good saving for the client also. And in turn, and we can make the earth a better living place.
Thank
no,
you. I
no,
request.
it will
I
definitely
request.
become better, Raminderji.
Yes.
It will definitely become
So
better with the
perhaps
initiative.
perhaps we could
There
have
is
this
some
conversation.
Yeah,
yeah,
final
Siddharth ji.
word from
So
Shashi Ramachandra ji. Shashikala
तो मैं
Ramachandra.
मैं एक ही
Yeah.
चीज बोलूंगा ग्रुप
Huh.
में that thoughts are very good. I think the way we should be seen is more towards providing you the visibility of those companies and making them aware, educate, and I think I leave it to Hargobinji now to take it forward towards developing that meaningful synergies so that we can get penetrated into the system and companies can take this benefit at large which
Yes.
can bring them good savings and also climate friendly. That's the
Thank
way.
you, sir. Your foot soldiers will be using to spread this message and convert them into a business. Madam Shashikala Ramachandra ji, your final words.
Final words is yours. So I'm really glad to hear Hargovind ji, Raminder ji, and Siddharth. It was very nice to hear such an interesting topic, and I was associated and now I have just stepped back. And one thing I really appreciate was the especially the focus that you have in risk management and compliance, which is very, very important for ESG risk. So I have been in companies where it has already been, established the policies and the processes and systems. So hearing to you, and because I am only in the boards of finance companies, so that's one thing I did get like quite some insight from you all. And thank you very much. It was really interesting. And with all of you experts there, I'm sure that it's going to go to greater heights. Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
ma'am.
Siddharth,
That's very
please.
kind of you.
Siddharth, please
Yes.
go ahead.
So
Yeah. I miss
yes. So
my discussions with Siddharth, which I used to have very often. Very interesting. He used to give me a lot of insights. And Hargovinji, of
yeah,
course. And Raminder is
you
my
know,
old colleague. Worked with him, and it is very. I'm really fortunate to be here today. Thank you.
thank you, ma'am. You have been very kind with that, very generous with your compliments also. So
No
if there are if there are no further questions, perhaps then we could proceed with the next vote of thanks. Then, if there are any further questions, please raise your hands. I'll be happy to take one last one. Okay. So again, so thank you so much everybody for joining us. So I'll end this question and answer session, and I'd like to propose a vote of thanks to all the speakers, especially to Mr. Raj Chopra, Mr. R.K. Dubey, sir. Thank you so much for your guidance and blessings for our success in this sector in the future. Mr. Hargovind, sir, thanks so much for the heavy weightlifting and bringing all these parties together as well. Mr. David Cole, thank you so much for your explanations of the four pillars, the importance of data collection and the management of these things. Raminder sir, thank you so much for introducing our attendees to a concept of green finance and to also give some guidance on that. Special thanks to Ms. Meeta Basu, Ms. Manu Agnihotri, Srinivasa Rao sir. Thanks so much for organizing all of this and managing this event so tightly and the smooth flow of ideas and the exchange of information. And to all the attendees, a very brief word to you all. So when we were in school, banks were all mortar and brick, physical assets. So we had to get our job done between 9 o'clock in the morning and 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So for lay persons, non-bankers, the idea was this is a fantastic career. You work for 5 hours, then you have 3 mysterious hours, and then you get paid handsomely. However, in the last many years, after many years of working with bankers, what I've realized is that none of the banking hours are mysterious. They are all vital, and they do play a very crucial role in it. And they're actually very long hours as well. So it's not a 9 to 5 job, as we were led to believe earlier. So bankers do take such a heavy, extremely personal. They take extreme responsibilities and moral responsibility in protecting the assets of all the depositors, of all their customers, and the care and the responsibility that you take to protect our assets is commendable. So thank you for that. The fact that all of you are present here today to understand the impact of climate change on the bank's assets are in fact deeply concerned about the assets of the customers. A failed dam, a loss-making coal plant, a polluting industrial borrower are all adversely impacted by climate change. And you all have convened here today to understand how you can protect the bank and its assets from that fallout. So that comes from a sense of duty and a moral responsibility that you have taken to the assets under your care. So to all of you, our heartfelt thanks, not only for attending this event tonight, on a Saturday night at that, but also for your relentless efforts that you take to protect our savings, our security, and our very future. We are very certain that with such determined and with such responsible and such with more people of such moral character, we believe and we are certain that we will yet turn the tide against climate change and climate risk. Thank you so much to all of you. Thank you so much. So with this, I'd like to bring the session to a close. Thank you so much again.